senior police officers meet for Commissioners' Conference. Wafi-Golpu Landowners say they will shut down operation. And NCD community says no more to gender-based violence.
This is National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Monday's news. Senior officers in the police hierarchy will discuss ways to strengthen leadership roles in their different areas of command. Close to 100 assistant police commissioners, including divisional and provincial commanders, are in Port Moresby to attend the Police Commissioners' Conference 2018. This conference is the one time all senior officers meet and discuss collective approaches to improving policing duties in Papua New Guinea.
The conference is aimed at identifying areas of improvements in both the administrative arm and the operations carried out by the police force. Top of the agenda are the high reports of ill-disciplined officers and the lack of leadership provided by commanding officers. Police Commissioner Gary Baki says the police force has been identified as one of the organizations in Papua New Guinea with the highest abuse of human rights cases and wants to see improvement at the implementing end.
As a commissioner, I have to be very frank and forthright with you this morning that the image and the reputation of the constabulary is literally tainted at this point in time because of officers and NCOs across the rank and file literally have fallen asleep at the wheel. The image of the constabulary has been smacked by allegations of corruption and human rights abuses. Ethics and discipline is sadly diminishing, and we as leadership of the constabulary are not doing enough to salvage this organization. And also as a commissioner, I'm disappointed and concerned over the many allegations and corruption of human rights abuses leveled against the constabulary.
A newspaper report released today states that over 8,000 cases of police brutality are still pending before the national, the district and Supreme Courts, some of which date back to 1992. Much of what will be discussed over the next 3 days is aimed at minimizing the increase in abuse of human rights cases against police officers and the accusation of corruption within the police department.
Most often we see police abuses happening right under our nose, but we deliberately condone it when it comes to, and we fail to investigate and punish those perpetrators. This is causing public to lose confidence, faith and trust in our ability to fight crime. As senior officers of the constabulary, we must take corrective measures now to restore command and control and to ensure discipline and ethics is maintained and sustained at all times.
Chief Ombudsman Michael Dick, who was the keynote speaker this morning, gave an understanding on why police officers working under commanding officers tend to engage in ill-disciplined actions whilst on duty.
Success will come when people respect an institution for its integrity, and that the integrity of the institution is reflected by the integrity of its leadership and its management.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The chairman of the Papua New Guinea Justice Foundation has urged the government to serve the interest of resource owners. Among environment damages and other issues, Chairman Jonathan Pariah believes people in the mining town have suffered enough. A hefty sum to the tune of billions has been claimed as compensation for damages done, given the reason that developer Barrick has breached initial agreements signed in 1989.
For years, the PNG Justice Foundation has spoken on behalf of the people affected by activities of the Porgera mine. Speaking in Port Moresby, the chairman says government as the regulator and middleman has denied saving the interest of resource owners.
No, that's the position of landowners. The landowners, as we speak, they are suffering, continuously mining 24 hours and polluting the environment, and people are continuously suffering. They're drinking bad, poison, dirty water.
According to Chairman Pariah, Canadian company Barrick has breached initial mining agreements. 2 months ago, the mining warden hearing was held at Payam town. A majority of clans situated in the heart of the mining operation were against the government and MRA not to renew the license of developer Barrick. In the recent mining conference in Sydney, Minister responsible Johnson Tuke acknowledged the compensation claims submitted by concerned landowners. Chairman Pariah says the government must consider the plea made by resource owners.
Our claim is based on actual facts and in actual breaches of agreement. It's not a make-up story like any other landowners in Papua New Guinea. Those are based on facts and law, So there are more evidence to come.
Arbitration will be held early next year to iron out issues for Porgera Mine. For the Justice Foundation, they want to see fair consideration by the state and developer Barrick.
We should take responsibility and look at meeting all the claims we are putting in.
Jack Lepava Jr., National EMTV News.
On December the 12th, Papua New Guinea commemorated the National Anti-Trafficking in Persons Day. Whilst the issue of people trafficking is not something that is openly talked about in the country, it is increasingly becoming a cause for concern. On the occasion of National Anti-Trafficking in Persons Day, EMTV News spoke to several stakeholders who have been working to address the issue of people trafficking within Papua New Guinea. It is an issue that has unfortunately increased over the years due to a lack of surveillance capacity by various agencies.
And this could be from a village to another village, the village to the town, or even within suburbs, or from one province to another. But this is something that's happening in PNG. It's just that we don't have as many cases being reported due to the lack of awareness on the issue of trafficking and the risks that are associated with it.
The International Organization for Migration, IOM, has been working with relevant government agencies through a program initiated in 2010. Spearheaded by the Department of Justice and Attorney General, efforts have been made to try to build the capacity of reporting agencies.
And so we haven't had high incidences of trafficking being reported, although there is now a realization and dawning on people in the communities that this is a crime. That especially if we look at the abuse of our cultural practices, some of these are contributing to the exploitation of another individual. And so with that, we are slowly getting cases being reported, and most of them are potential cases. So it means that this could be a case of trafficking, but an assessment has to be done by an intercepting agency, preferably a government agency.
With people trafficking an issue that crosses political borders, the U.S. Embassy in PNG has also assisted efforts in country. Drawing from its experience in other countries, it says PNG has good legislation. However, the challenge is in its implementation and enforcement.
And up to now, Papua New Guinea has done a very good job with the legal side. And currently, we're now looking at sort of the next step, which is to see how those laws are implemented and how the government, not necessarily the NGOs, but the actual government agencies apply these laws. And we're looking now to see, and hopefully an increase in identification of victims and the arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators.
As PNG's population continues to increase, there must also be an increase in efforts by relevant agencies to tackle people smuggling within country. According to the IOM, this is more so within certain industries, especially within the extractive resource sector.
It's not to say that Papua New Guinea and Papua New Guineans themselves are any more vulnerable than any other country in the world, but we know from experience globally that whether it's in the industries of the mining industries or the logging industries, cocoa, etc., that these are industries globally where trafficking often exists, the exploitation of an individual for labor, for example, where there's countries where there's domestic servitude, that's also an area where we find a lot of trafficking globally.
You're watching National EMTV News. We go for our first break, but we'll be back with more of the day's stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National MTV News. Port Moresby City residents packed the new Look Ella Beach for the inaugural Carols by the Sea on Sunday evening. Many more were still making their way to the beachfront but could only manage to catch the fireworks which ended the night's activities. A downside to the event, vehicles were pelted with rocks along the Koki Road.
Excellent. People came early as 3 p.m. in the afternoon just to get themselves the front row seats on the sandy beach. By 6 p.m. in the evening, the whole stretch of beach was just a huge mess of human traffic. The beach came alive with music and Christmas lights by nighttime as favorite Christmas carols were sung by local performers and church choirs. The highlight of the evening was when Argentina's acrobats and the spectacular fireworks show that amazed everyone. In his opening remarks, Governor Pakop said his dream is for Port Moresby City to be a clean, peaceful, inclusive and prosperous for everyone.
We are diverse city, diverse nation, diverse people. That's why we are amazing here in our capital city. And we are showing it tonight on Christmas Eve. What a time, special moment. And I'm proud of you all. I salute you all for turning up tonight. Tonight, we are gathered to celebrate Christmas, hosted by me, your governor. Why by no?
Pakop also said that Port Moresby is truly an amazing diverse city with 1,000 tribes and 800 plus languages. He urged everyone to enjoy the Christmas festivities with peace, love and respect for everyone.
And to join me, join our members of parliament, all the dignitaries here in making this very significant event of our faith and for our lives successful.
Towards the end of the program, the area was packed to capacity as more city residents flocked to Ella Beach. Many could only manage to watch the event from their vehicles stuck in traffic, and that included the fireworks. Tamara Pia Agavi, National MTV News.
The festive season is well and truly here. For Port Moresby residents, getting away from the hustle and bustle of city life is what many look forward to. The Adventure Park provides an ideal escape for residents.
There are exactly 8 days till Christmas and 14 days till we welcome the new year. For Port Moresby residents, if you're looking for an escape from the busy city life, there's a lot to see and do at Adventure Park. All-day access to water slides for only 20 kina, canoe paddling around the lake for only 10 kina, and Ferris wheel and merry-go-round for the kids. For mothers, the newly opened APEC and Orchid Gardens is a must-see if you want to see new species of flowers and orchids. Animal lovers will not be disappointed as there is a lot to see from Bed of Paradise to 3 kangaroos, crocodile and snakes. Adventure Park Supervisor Peter Sparker says the park caters for everyone.
Providing avenues where all man-mary can come loye, all can come na because the city am hot, na humid, na weather system now am dry season loye, so loye am all parents, all kids, all can come na relax, enjoy.
With just over a week until Christmas, residents are already making use of what's on offer. Rebecca and Michelle were there with their families to unwind and relax.
We came here to spend our weekend and enjoy here. We came to try to slide out.
All family blomi na good plan environment. We got slide blol pikinini na ferry go around, merry go around.
Whilst many families will be taking time off from work during this period, for others it will be business as usual for the most part. For MTV driver Frank, amongst the busy new schedules, he hopes to get some time away to spend Christmas festivities at home with his loved ones at his village.
Christmas plan is I'm trying to go home, go back to my village, because I've never been to my village for 4 years now. So
Tamara Pia Agavi, National MTV News.
Central Province Governor Robert Agarobe has announced a 5-year development plan for Central Province. This plan will focus mainly on agriculture, tourism and sports. According to the governor, his plan is to transform villages into rural townships.
Up to 80% of the rural population in Central Province depends on agriculture, and with the governor's plan to develop this sector, the people will now be able to enjoy the fruits of their hard work. Speaking to EMTV News, Governor Robert Agarobe said through the Central Province Development Plan, the one crop, one district concept will be introduced.
You know, we have the concept of buying back from the people land, so we can concentrate on one crop. So we're going one crop, one electorate way. We go rice for Kaikuhiri, coffee for Goilala, sugar for Abao, and cattle for Rigos because they are normally cowboys.
In line with the one crop, one district concept, the Central Provincial Government will help to secure markets for produce and help develop its district into rural townships.
So when you drive into Abao, which is going to be sugar, you know that when you drive into Kupiana Station, it's a sugar station. It's a sugar town. When you drive into Golala, which we're pushing coffee, we want you to know that Tapini is a coffee town. It's driven by coffee. When you go into Kaikuhiri and you drive into Berena Station, I want it to be known as the rice town of Central Province. And like what Rigo, it will become the cattle town or the cowboy town.
The other two sectors that the governor will focus on are tourism and sports. Tourism and sporting activities will be hosted in rural villages so that the revenue goes back to the people.
And with tourism, the biggest market is here. You know, we're looking at opening up our land now for in our villages to do the homestay concept. So tourists coming into who want to go out into the province don't have to worry about living in a resort. They can just come out and stay in the villages, and in that way, money goes straight to our people.
Furthermore, Governor Agarobe has said that whilst most institutions like village and district courts are still dysfunctional, there are plans to revive these institutions.
Then you have the district again. The districts too have been, dysfunctional for a very, very long time. So my job now is to make sure that we revive a lot of these institutions that have been set up under law to manage and mitigate and look after the affairs of our people. So that's what we've been doing in the last 16 months.
Rayon Lakingu, National, EMTV News.
A total of 281 cooperative societies in the Anglim South Wagi area of Jiwaka province have registered to do business. This will see a lot of grassroots people engaged in Jiwaka in small and medium enterprise. Their certificates were presented to them by the Department of Trade, Commerce and Industry last Friday.
These cooperative groups will join the already established 6,000 cooperative societies in Papua New Guinea and the 1.2 billion registered members worldwide. Joining a cooperative society means one must agree to pull together resources to undertake economic activities such as poultry, piggery and agricultural projects for a common good. Last Friday, Cooperative Societies Registrar Stephen Saloon presented the certificates, marking a milestone for the local people to work to improve their livelihoods.
It's a consultative meeting, le tram le fan out long. When I'm a cooperative inside, I'll be plan long. For me, big thing where you black out, go inside.
Trade and Commerce Minister Wera Mori, who was also present at the presentation, says starting next year, consultative meetings and trainings for cooperative societies will be conducted to support small and medium enterprise activities in the country. Minister Mori says this will encourage little people to be engaged in economic activities like agriculture to strengthen PNG's economy.
By the time you talk long coffee, you talk long tea, or you talk long one something you planning, long place, I'm involved in all in a family, I'm involved in one big line.
Anglim South Wagi MP Joe Cooley, through the Electorate's District Services Improvement Program funds, funded 1.7 million kina as seed capital to the cooperative societies. Cooley said he did this to see improvement in people's lives as well as help them to sustain their living. However, if the societies fail to acquit their funding, the District Development Authority will stop supporting them.
Account where you operate long and you know look out him good.
You suppose some 2019, but you don't have kisim again. Lick money come, you must look out him. Family blow you, house line blow you. We need him by stick. We need him by go to school.
Minister Mori said his department will fund cooperative societies in Jiwaka province to make it become an economic center. He said this calls for the reviving of coffee and tea plantations in the province. Vasinati Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
A rice harvest scheduled to take place this morning at the rice project area at 14 Mile was cancelled due to bad weather. The harvest is the first from the rice project, which was part of an agreement signed between the PNG and Philippines government during the recent Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation meet. Filipino rice farmers stationed at the rice project area told MTV News the first harvest of the rice project was initially scheduled to take place today. However, due to the sudden unpredictable weather conditions, it will now take place when fine weather returns. The rice farmers are ensuring that the harvest machinery, which will be used for the rice harvest, is in good condition before the harvest is confirmed to take place. After 10 years of waiting, a ward councillor in the Mosby Northwest electorate has initiated a water and electricity project. Jonathan Afuti told MTV, time after time, the district office and service providers have never connected proper water and electricity to residents in Morata 4. The former military officer says their condition of living is harsh despite living within the city limits.
Living in one of Mosby's biggest suburb, Morata 4, life has been challenging for residents here. Ward Councillor Jonathan Afuti told MTV efforts of liaising with authorities have fallen on deaf ears. He says despite paying fees to service providers to connect water and electricity, no work has commenced.
Though me go tap na complaint, me put him all can work paper number submissions you go. The so talk long back connect him time election to so come gammon of him water pass him again.
For Afuti, he believes authorities have neglected them with empty promises. Children and adults have contracted diseases from using drain and sewage water system. But this has not stopped Afuti to initiate water and electricity projects.
Also now me yet me work him on blah project. Me blah work him. Me plan to put him water come inside, power come inside. And me been kissing money roll line and me pull him power come.
It's the same story everyone at Morata 4 speaks of. They have been paying fees to service providers but with no work progressing. Afuti is appealing to the Mosby West office and other service providers to improve their living condition, especially with clean water system and affordable electricity supply.
All like me blah put him sampler kind, all put him sampler feel of me black and buy him as a section. Am I right? Me black can no something. That's all I know can put him.
Jack Lapawe Jr., National EMTV News.
Vital roads and bridges within Leh City have been under construction since early this month. 2 sections in town and Chinatown are almost done, while the 3rd section will be constructed early next year. Leh MP John Rosso says Leh City Authority is taking responsibility with the road projects. JVPNG Investments are upgrading these roads.
Deteriorated roads in Leh has been a problem for many years. This year, the Leh City Authority began a maintenance project to fix the roads within the city. Leh MP John Rosso says the contractors will focus on the 2 main bridges at Kamkumu and Chinatown.
The Boom Boom Bridge, for example, has been neglected for a long time. It's caused a lot of traffic jams. Also, criminal opportunities have taken opportunity for slow-moving traffic and attacked and harassed drivers down there. So once and for all, I just want to get it all fixed.
Leh City is known to be the industrial hub of the country. However, for many years, it has been called a potholed city because of deteriorating road conditions. Until 2011, the government allocated more than 100 million kina to rehabilitate Leh roads after years of neglect. This year, the Leh City Authority allocated funds to fix main intersections and bridges. Early this month, the road works began at the Coronation Drive junction. Mr. Rosso aims at upgrading all street roads as soon as possible. He said funding has been a problem, however, there has been support from the Morobe provincial government.
And in partnership with the governor and myself, we're trying to fix, make sure that all our streets in Leh get sealed.
Mr. Rosso said Leh City Authority will make sure all streets and main road construction will be completed next year. Meanwhile, the Kamkumu Bridge will be under construction early next year. Mary Boyonigani, National MTV News, Leh.
The landowners of Wafi-Golpu said they will shut down the mining operation if the national government fails to respond to the 7-day petition. The signing of the MOU by the Prime Minister without the participation of landowners in the consultation process triggered their frustration. They've called on the Prime Minister, Mining Minister Johnson Tuke and Member for Bulolo, Sam Basil, to reconsider the MOU.
The landowners gathered on Saturday here at Gangan in Mumeng, Bulolo district. The development of the Wafi-Golpu mine project, signed by the government last week Tuesday, triggered their frustration.
We as the principal landowners of this multi-billion kina Wafi-Golpu project are not happy with the recent action of our government.
This land we are signing, I mean, come clear understanding the man mineral plus. One blood negotiation forum, the mining forum, me one blood youths, me been asking Kapmanosem. By you signing this agreement without look Saweblo community or by you make him look Saweblo community, stop before you sign him. Company na government been promising me lo community holo babaga lo hengambo. Also, by me must come lo place na talk Saweblo you before you sign him. This plan no God.
Me kesem la mila talk you straight minister. You know shem lo kan sign nothing lo ground lo me sa customer leno la.
The Wafi-Golpu project is an underground gold and copper mine. It's located in the UN Gulf district in Morobe. It is a 17 billion kina project and will operate for more than 20 years. The developers of the project are Newcrest and Harmony. According to the landowners, they have no share in the mine project and weren't included in any consultation with the government and the mine developers.
You don't tell me what I'm something. You asking me proper background. Suppose me play stop wrong impacted here.
MOU lo must be. Same person making me one bell. When the Prime Minister, me one bell of this person will make it.
I will now make our stand clear. And we, because you haven't notified us, you haven't involved us, included us in this signing, we will now shut down the project.
Prime Minister, you are the Prime Minister of this country. Who said all money give him this land? Bamibla pin most of best leader and talk to them. Suppose something gonna happen. Bamibla pass some God.
The landowners will submit a 7-day petition to the national government once it is approved by the Tutumang.
You listen to what we say. This mine is going to stay closed until such times as you comply. You comply quickly because after 7 days we're going to shut this thing down.
Julie Badui, Owa, National MTV News, Leh.
You're watching National MTV News this Monday. We'll have more after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. Community leaders in Morata have signed an agreement to advocate against gender-based violence and HIV in their community. Today, they signed a partnership certificate with Population Services International to use the SASA program to support change in Morata. SASA, which stands for Start Awareness Support Action, is a primary prevention method focused on a collective effort in preventing violence against women, girls and children in Papua New Guinea.
Today, Morata residents show their commitment to work together to make their neighborhood a safer place. The suburb is known for its notoriety, and having had enough, the residents are now rising to change this perception.
Many things are many posts na fighting barriers of property belong. And you know what? Law we know we work finish. Law we protecting Mary and we tamper through la fighting Mary nowadays.
The community came together and showed their collective commitment to preventing violence against women through the signing. The program will also promote the service providers whom GBV victims can go to for help.
You got this like I'm parent now you I type now you facing violence like 20 years or some moon now you act like talk Nipla human rights now is that the community blah nipla you looking me around no yellow community or street you must talk one to me but nipla talk player, me plan this happiness.
SASA is a notable evidence-based primary prevention model aligned with the national GBV strategy to prevent and respond to violence. PSI will be working with key stakeholders, including the government, provincial administrations, the Family Sexual Violence Action Committee, and the media to implement and measure the efficacy of SASA in the PNG context.
I'm very passionate about the work we are trying to do together with Morata. Morata is one of those communities oftentimes forgotten, but so close to the Waigani, so close to where decisions are made. So we need to look at Morata to change Morata. And it's not me who is going to change Morata. It's not my staff who is going to change Morata, but it's every single one of you.
Following the signing, a mini workshop will be conducted for those who signed up as community activists. Morata now joins Kaugere and Hanuabada to pilot the SASA program in Port Moresby. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
During the SASA partnership signing today in Morata, some of the community leaders highlighted common issues that are being faced by families and youth living in the area. A village court magistrate, Josephine Dura, says most of the cases she has dealt with were family-related problems.
Just like any other community or suburban with issues affecting them daily, the Morata community in Port Moresby have been facing issues related to gender-based violence. One of the main challenges that community leaders in the area encounter almost every day is family-related issues. EMTV News spoke to one village court magistrate, Josephine Durua, who also defends human rights within the community. She says most of the cases brought to the village court are of family or couples seeking to be separated.
Plenty cases, me plus are in plenty time. All Brookie Maret case planned through.
About 50% of people with cases like that come to the village court and have their problems mediated. The rest chose other alternatives. Another issue highlighted by Morata Community Policing Director Alex Jaffa was the lack of discipline among the younger members in the family. He says this lack of discipline forces youths in the community to resort to other illegal activities.
So these are children, these are youths that, potential youths who can, involve in the criminal elements, criminal activities. And also they engage in drug consumption, homebrew, and, assault people in there, and phone snatching, those kind of activities. So,
despite all that, Jaffa believes that with the help of Population Services International and their SASA program, they can encourage the youths to take up the fight against gender-based violence. Patricia Camo, National EMTV News.
It's the first day of the working week. You're watching National EMTV News. We go for a quick break, and when we come back, some sporting updates in Trukai Sports. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with Rugby League. Following the successful hosting of the inaugural Central Dabari trials earlier this month, a 60-man squad has been selected for the Dabaris to assist with the selection of players for their inaugural Digital Cup campaign in the coming year, 2019.
The trials conducted in Port Moresby early this month featured PNG RFL affiliated leagues and players from across the Central Province. A total of 300 players participated in the trials, with teams from Kairuku, Iri West and East, Goilala, Koyari through to Rigo, Aroma and Abao. Central Dabari's technical director Chris Enara said the turnout during the trials from the leagues was overwhelming and made selection difficult as all the players performed to their best.
The trials, which saw 60-man squad selected, will assemble at Bava Park in Port Moresby tomorrow and on Wednesday to go through a pre-testing medical and physical examination before training schedules are given out. The squad will then reassemble on the 15th January in 2019 to participate in the final selection process, which will be made up of 3 selected sides to take on a select PRL squad, including a select Quarry Rugby League team. The Central Dabaris team will be announced after the final selection process. Suli, National MTV Sports.
The Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup has begun the process of rewarding teams from provincial qualifiers. The first batch of qualifiers received their golden passes for the competition finals, which will take place in February 2019.
The first playoff of the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup began in Jiwaka, with Barnes Bull and Means Bulldogs each receiving golden tickets for the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup finals in February. Over the weekend, NCD, Central and Hagen played their final rounds, where gold passes were also given to the top 2 teams in respective pools.
I did not mention too, Simbu will play their games in Means. Because of the venue is not ready for any other games in Simbu, so we'll move it to Minsk as well. But else, everything is looking good and flowing smooth for the competition this year.
Ley will host the playoffs from the 21st to 24th, where teams from Bulolo and Ley City will compete. Ramu, Kainantu, Yonki and Makam will play in the Kainantu qualifiers. Mendi will host the Southern Highlands Challenge from 28th to 30th, where one team in the tournament will be selected to represent Southern Highlands.
The cup is won by Southern Highlands team, the Oko Butterflies. So we have to follow the cup and host the game. It's unfair to bring the game out. Normally we bring Mendi Challenge to Minsk and Wabimanda most of the times, but now we have been back the challenge to Mendi because of the cup is won by Southern Highlands team. So teams must have that in their mind that, you know, games there's a say, so one have to win, one have to lose. So if you lose, then you have to work hard to come back for the next challenge.
From the New Guinea Islands, Kimbe will host the tournament as the latest franchise entry to the inter-city competition next year. For the first time, Western Province will feature in the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup, with qualifiers to be held in Tabubil and Kyunga. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
The Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup is a platform to identify raw rugby league talent across the country. Competition CEO Timothy Lepa, when speaking to MTV Sports, said the tournament is being used to provide opportunities to players to be selected to higher level competitions, including the national intercity competition.
As one of the largest off-season rugby league competitions in the country, the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup is playing its part in identifying raw talents. Speaking to MTV Sports, competition CEO Timothy Lepa said the tournament is a platform used by clubs in the intercity competition to identify potential players for respective franchises.
This competition is a national competition. It's not all about Milks. This competition is, you know, the players are recruited, and when it comes to Milks, we really not really select Milks from the Ipatas Cup. We select, like most of the players in the competition now in Port Moresby, we can see Viper's playing, Ishiwe playing, Guri is playing, but we really not give them first priority.
This time around, the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup board has resolved to engage more provinces in the competition, giving more players the opportunity to one day play in the National Intercity Cup competition.
We see the hidden talent which has not been seen and recognized by the Digital Cup. That is our job of this competition, to put them on the marketplace. That's what we normally do. We are really not desperate in selecting the best works out of this competition, win grand final. No. We are here to see the hidden talent which has been overlooked by the teams throughout Papua New Guinea. That is our job, to give them the opportunity in the marketplace. That is the main reason why this competition been there.
According to Lepa, the Coca-Cola Ipatas Cup track record speaks for itself, with many players progressing from this off-season competition to the intercity competition. Godwin Eki, National MTV Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports on MTV. We'll have more after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To Rugby Union now. National Women's Rugby Team, the ICTSI South Pacific PNG Palais, will be representing the country at the Sydney and Hong Kong legs of the HSBC Sevens respectively. Preparations are going well with the team now under new management, Godwin Eki reports.
The National Women's Rugby Sevens team, the Palais, qualified for the Sydney and Hong Kong legs of the HSBC Sevens. The ICTSI South Pacific sponsored team began preparations for these two tournaments soon after returning back from the Oceania Rugby Sevens in Fiji. Training continued up until last week, where players now are taking a few days off. They will resume ahead of their tournament in Sydney, with the final travelling squad yet to be confirmed.
The final squad is yet to be selected. Right now it's the train-on squad. So yeah, everyone's in camp. There's about 18 in the train-on squad. Well, it depends on our coach. Most probably it will be 15 and the final 12. Preparations are good. Right now we just started off, like I said, our first training camp. That's for Sydney and Hong Kong Sevens, which will be in April.
Rapila added that having the presence of international players will help boost the team's morale and more so performance.
With this new team, I think there's a lot of experience. Also, it's a new mix, and I think it's a really good mix with the new girls that have come on board and a lot of young talent, which I think it's going to be good for the team leading into Sydney and the big one, which is Hong Kong.
Whilst 2018 has been a tough year for both players and management, things are finally starting to look promising for the future of the Palais. The Sydney and Hong Kong legs of the Seven Series are critical, as they will determine the Palais' placing in the overall Sevens World Circuit.
Firstly, with the new coaching and management, there has been a lot of positive vibes. We have, for the players, we are embracing the new change, which is, I think, a good thing for the team as a group moving forward. And yeah, we're just looking forward to the next few months, like preparing for Sydney.
Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
To some cricket abroad now. One of the greatest test innings by a black cap batsman has put New Zealand in a commanding position in their first test against Sri Lanka in Wellington.
Resuming at 121 not out on day 3, Tom Latham would double his score and then some. In what was a remarkable display of concentration, he faced nearly 500 deliveries. Included in his innings were 21 fours.
Beautifully played.
And 1 6. His 264, the highest ever score by a test opener, carrying his bat through the whole innings.
And all the way for 6.
Along the way, there were valuable partnerships, with Henry Nicholls getting 50. And Colin de Gronholm smashed 3 sixes on his way to 49.
Yes, brute force, all right.
It was a run-laden recovery from the Black Caps after Ross Taylor's remarkable dismissal in the very first over of the day. Latham joined Brendan McCullum and Glenn Turner as the only Black Caps openers to score 150 twice in tests.
And Latham signals to the dressing room.
He then surpassed his previous best test score of 177, also breaking the record for a New Zealand opener at the Basin Reserve.
Over the leg side.
Then his big moment.
He had a chance for a big one and he's cashed in ×2.
What a magnificent innings.
His unbeaten 264, the 6th highest total by a New Zealand player in Test history. And Sri Lanka's day was about to get a lot worse as Trent Boult and Tim Southey ripped through the top order.
Got him straight through.
And that wraps up Trukai Sports for this evening. Up next, we'll have for you the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Port Moresby and Daru mostly fine apart from a chance of a shower or two. Mostly fine and cloudy for Kerma and Alota. Brief showers tonight and then fine weather for Popondetta. To the Momasa region, fine weather expected in Lae, some showers in Wau and Madang, some thunderstorms and cloudy weather expected in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, some cloudy weather and showers expected in Lorangau and Kavieng, mostly fine, becoming cloudy for Kokopo and Rabaul, mostly fine for Kimbe, partly cloudy for Buka. And in the Highlands region, some cloudy weather and showers expected in Mount Hagen and Goroka, as well as in Kundiawa. Some showers as well for Mendi and Wabeg, and all these major centers can expect morning fog developing.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Monday the 17th of December 2018. On behalf of the entire MTV News team right around the country, pleasant viewing, good night.